Yay, my favorite subject. Oh my goodness, we get to talk about food and weight loss, and more importantly, getting healthier through weight loss tonight. I'm Dr. Liisa Hall of WellSpine KC, and it is such a pleasure to come to so many of you on this regular basis these days, even if it is through technology, to just connect and talk about the things that matter. Food. Next to breathing, it's our most vital resource. We absolutely need food, which makes it challenging when there's so many foods available that aren't healthy for us. So we're going to talk about that stuff tonight. But really what I want to set the tone with is all of us understanding that regardless of the quality of the things that we put in our mouth, whatever we do take in is taken in, is absorbed by our bodies, and it becomes us. It's the energy that animates our cells and creates function or dysfunction, and we have to acknowledge it at that level. So when it comes to nutrition, it comes to health and food, it's all about what's going in, how well it's being assimilated, so how well your digestive system is breaking it down, how strong your digestive system is, and how well you eliminate. Funny analogy I just heard was the power of a motor depends on its exhaust. But if we think of these silly things, it reminds us that you have to have a great output along with input. So we've got to talk digestion a little bit tonight too. So the families in our office are absolutely healthier and safer than the families out of our office. And what we want to see is more families taking full advantage of the things that we know and the things that we teach so that you can truly be stronger and healthier and happier as you go through your life. This is a big deal and it should be fun. So let's not get too heavy-hearted about eating more healthily. Let's get more excited about the payoffs that we'll get when we do eat better. You've heard us say this before, I hope. Symptoms are body signals. They are your body's way of asking for your attention, saying, hello, something's going on. I want you to pay more attention to your symptoms. Are you listening to those body signals? Does your body have something to say to you? There are so many symptoms and body signals that show up that are food related, so we're going to jump into those in a moment. But first, let's talk about what your goals are out of tonight. Please don't show up here to just be entertained. I'm not that entertaining. I want you to think very specifically, what do I want to change about my diet? Do I want to lose 15 pounds in 15 weeks? Or maybe you have 15 pounds in a year. Please don't shorten it too much. We have way too much pressure on ourselves, and honestly, it doesn't have to be fast. In fact, it's better for your overall health and wellness if you spread weight loss over time. It'll be so much more sustainable. So 15 weeks from tonight is September 30th, 2020. So if you're watching this live, think of that. What do I want to look like, feel like, move like? What are my energy levels? What body signals do I not have anymore because I'm eating better and because I'm lighter weighted? So think about these things right now. What are your goals? What makes sense for you? Who are you doing it for? What do you look like a year from now? What would you wish you looked like a year from now? What about 5 years from now or 10 years from now? Because I promise you, if you don't make healthy changes, your body won't get healthier on its own. I know that's so obvious, but just acknowledge that for yourself. These are really critical moments. You get to make a decision. You can increase your strength, you can increase your stamina, you can be a better performer at whatever, whether it's athletic or just playing with your family. So consider that. When it comes to body composition and it comes to weight loss, I want to be very clear on our goals. I don't want you just to lose 15 pounds or 50 pounds for that matter. Today was perfect timing. I had a lovely mother come into our office and she was celebrating and really quite glowing about the fact that she is down 40 pounds in a year and a half. And I just made my heart so happy because I know exactly what that was. And it wasn't just her eating better, it's her moving better too. And I'll also clarify, she's not really down 40 pounds because I know in the same time frame, she probably added on 15 or 20 pounds of muscle. So she's net like 55, 60 pounds healthier. So there's a reason why I titled this workshop 15 pounds healthier in 15 weeks. It's not just about being 15 pounds lighter. Think about that. If you add muscle mass, if you start working out and you eat healthier, don't get mad if the scale doesn't change. Don't get mad about the scale not changing. I do think it's really important that you have some specific measurements so you know where you started and you know where you want to go. She's so specific on exactly what pound she wants to get to, so she's fighting for that and working for that. But she's also had great leadership and coaching from her personal trainer that can give her guidance, keeping in mind muscle mass growth also. I recommend everybody visit a gym that has a great body composition tool, and there's lots of different tools for that, but they can tell you what % body fat you are. They can measure for you, you can measure for yourself, how many inches are you around the waist, around the arms, around the thighs, around the hips. Get your numbers. If you don't want to know your numbers, that's a sign you need to know your numbers. So when it comes to body fat percentages, the acceptable range for women is between 20 and 35%. I actually find that to be really high, but maybe those numbers are being skewed for us Americans. I don't think that's really where we want to be, but honestly, if you can get your body fat closer to 20-25%, you're winning in so many ways in life, and we'll cover what some of those are, but it's a big deal. For men, it's a little lower, it's 15 to 25%. Again, it's about your goals. Don't get hung up on things that don't matter, because we have to chunk it down and talk about food. All right, here we go. Health is an inside job. It is an inside job. As a chiropractor, you're going to hear me say over and over and over again, you have this innate intelligence that is amazing. It runs your body, it runs your digestion, it runs your metabolism, it runs your hormones. If your hormones are out of whack, your weight is out of whack, guaranteed. I have done workshop after workshop where I covered all the hormones and glucose and insulin and all of them. I don't want to do that tonight because I don't want to make this heavy. I just want to make this make sense for you. Your body is self-healing, uses your brain and nerve system to do so. If you don't know if your brain and nerve system are healthy, you got to get a checkup. I'm going to pretty much leave it there at that tonight. If you're not healing or functioning properly, something is missing and or something's interfering with the healing process. When it comes to food, we're going to talk about things that are missing tonight. We've got to talk about stuff you must add into your mouth every day and not just stuff you need to cut out. I want to make it easier for you. Food provides the neurotransmitters, the enzymes, the micro and macronutrients. This stuff's all obvious. You can read all about it online. I just want you to recognize food is not just some substance that you can put in your mouth that makes you not hungry anymore. We've got to think of food much better than this. And then food affects your energy levels. Please know that. Food affects your energy levels, your consciousness, the thoughts you're thinking, your brain function, your skin, your movement patterns, your longevity. All of this is affected by your food. Start taking every single thing you put in your mouth a little more seriously, and if not, a lot more seriously. Fat is a symptom. Being fat is a symptom. Let's stop calling obesity and being overweight some other side condition. It really means you're not healthy. It does, and I want you to acknowledge that. I'm not being callous or crude. It's just a reality. If you're fat, it's a symptom of another problem. Some people, it's just that you're lonely. For some people, it's that you genuinely don't know what you should be eating, or you genuinely don't know when you should be eating. So we're going to talk about the specifics on that. It is 100% natural for us to be healthy our entire lifespan. Own this, please. You should age slowly and gracefully. You should awaken each day grateful for the opportunities that lie ahead. You should have more energy than you need. You should crave healthy food. I want to stop on that one. If you want to keep reading, go ahead. But you should crave healthy food. Please don't think I'm going to ask you to give up all your favorite junk food, because the truth is when you start getting healthier, you'll stop wanting it. I remember in college, I used to sit up late doing physics or whatever problem I was working on until all hours. And I would literally sit at the table drinking tea and eating Oreos. I mean, in Canada they were Fudgios, but whatever. I was eating junk food and I was just on this sugar high that kept me in my textbook. Totally ridiculous. I could eat a whole lot of them. And to me, that was normal. In fact, I do remember thinking, I'll probably never give these up because I think I was addicted to them. I'm sure I was addicted. It was sugar. Sugar is an addictive substance. It's not natural. I wasn't living naturally. It's also not natural to stay up that late doing anything, regardless of what the boring nature of it is. But here's the thing. It's not natural. So we need to start moving towards what is natural and stop expecting that living the lives we're living is actually an option. I don't want people living in this place where we're unnaturally craving unhealthy foods, dreading exercise, and really having a general feeling of depression, discontentment, sadness, anxiety. It's not natural. All right. Common food-related symptoms. So over the years, I've taught a cleanse. I taught a cleanse twice a year at our practice in Boston, and it was so successful because what we did was we made food really simple. I started out on day one by going over all the body symptoms that can show up with food issues. Not necessarily allergies, not necessarily even insensitivities, but just irritations within the body because of food. Here's what I found out. When people or our patients would start to identify what their symptoms were and recognize that they were food related, it made it a lot easier to make the changes that they made. Most people don't know that headaches, dizziness, insomnia, itchy ears, watery eyes, excessive mucus in sinuses or mouth and throat or lungs, sneeze attacks, blurred vision, ringing in the ears, acne, hot flashes, hair loss, pounding, irregular heartbeats, chest pain. Those are all signs of food issues, that you're consuming something that's not good for your body. Imagine how many people right now are taking medications to treat symptoms or body signals that are caused by other things they're putting in their mouth. If you knew that, I think you'd want to change that. The list goes on. Asthma, allergies, shortness of breath, nausea, constipation, excessive gas, heartburn, bloating, diarrhea, fatigue, apathy, depression, mood swings, hyperactivity, joint pain, swelling, stiffness, arthritis. This list goes on. Every single thing I've mentioned are literally symptoms I've had patients tell me that they didn't have anymore once they went through our cleanse program. And our cleanse program was really basic, really straightforward, and I'll cover most of the details of it tonight. That's incredible amount of symptoms. I'll add one for myself personally. I have found that if I have gluten more than 3 times in a row, so let's say I have pancakes at a restaurant in the morning, which is rare, but let's say I did that. I had a sandwich at lunch, and let's just say I got super lazy and had pizza for dinner, I'd be stuttering for a day or 2. I literally stutter when I have gluten. But I didn't know that until I cut it out and I stopped stuttering. That's crazy. I also know it because I've added it back in and realized, oh shoot, I gotta pump the brakes on the gluten. We all fall off the wagon, but it's about how quickly you get back on. So if you've dealt with any of these symptoms, or else you have other symptoms that you're struggling with, consider that they very well may be related to the food that you're eating. If you're not sure about it, put a message in the comment box below, call our office, text our office. We will be happy to answer questions with you about it. But the truth of the matter is, if you cut some unhealthy foods out, add some healthier foods in, I promise we'll get there quickly, you will notice an increase in body function, a decrease in these crazy body symptoms. All right, you've seen this before. It is the health continuum. It's so easy for people to think they're either healthy or sick. That is not even an option. It is always a continuum. So remember that symptoms are telling you where you are on that continuum. I want everybody moving towards wellness. We should be consistently getting better in our lives. We don't need to be shifting down and just slowing down and getting sicker as we age and just tapping out. Right now, we're in unprecedented amounts of stress in our culture. And I know it's easier than ever to kind of check out. This is going so badly, so I might as well let that get bad too. It doesn't work that way. We have to recognize, where am I on that continuum? And could I even shift just like a hair, just a little bit to that direction? Healthy absolutely comes in all shapes and sizes. Please don't think you're supposed to have somebody else's body type. Please do not do that. I've had so many people make comments over the years, oh, I wish I had your shape. No, you don't. You're not built like me. It's not about that. And it's not about body envy. It's all about health. Because really, you can be a huge person, like the guy on the far right, and be very healthy. Or you can be a tiny, petite, shorter person and be healthy in that body too. So knowing what's right for your body is really important. Hopefully, or possibly, you have a time in your life that you can remember where you were your optimal health. Put pictures of yourself like that up around your home. Put pictures like that in your mind. Just remember that and know that that is normal for you because that's natural for you and we are supposed to be healthy. I want to clarify a lie a lot of people tell themselves, which is that you're just big boned. I analyze x-rays for a living. I've analyzed tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 sets of x-rays, and I promise you, I've seen probably 4 people who are big boned. You're not big boned. Too many people are walking around saying, I'm just heavy set because I'm big boned. You know, get x-rays, find out. Get a body measurement test at the gym. What % fat are you? Because bones won't show up as fat on that test. And I don't say that to slap you in the face. I say that to say we need a gut check. We got to get really real on what's right for you and what's real for you so you can get there faster. I'm so tired of seeing silly ads like skinny is the new sexy or whatever. No, it's not. Healthy is the new sexy. Healthy people are more attractive. Of course they are, because they're healthy, because there's an energy about them. That energy comes from the things they put in their mouth, just like I started out by saying. I'm going to be real short on research. I don't want to do a lot of that. I don't want to make it very heavy-headed tonight, but I do want to post this one published article that was in one of the more difficult research papers to get into, which is circulation. And what the researchers were discussing is the fact that focusing on the downstream health effects of poor eating choices and lack of exercise is what's killing us. So focusing on just, blood lipid levels not being healthy or having hypertension, so high blood pressure, or even diabetes, just focusing on those and treating those is absolutely not working. It's really why we're getting sicker as a country and as a culture. I literally just talked to my sister today who told me that a client of hers was just complaining, oh, I can't lose the weight because I have hypertension. It's exactly that point. It's backwards. You must get rid of the hypertension by losing the weight. So fat is a symptom that has many downstream effects of disease and dysfunction. If you didn't get it yet, it's real simple. Fat is sick. Please, please, please. I'm not judging. I'm just saying we got to get better. We live in a perfect storm. I guess I'm trying to say here, be easy on yourself emotionally. This is a really, really difficult time. We've already had, decades of our years in which we've had access to toxic and deficient food, processed food, artificial foods, fake food colorings, syrups and sugars injected into our foods. And then of course it's just more and more encouraged that we have a more sedentary life. Our computers do more for us than ever before. Our cell phones do more for us than ever before. You can literally be in your car and buy breakfast, pick up your dry cleaning, go to work, sit at your desk, get back in the car, pick up dinner, drive home, sit on the couch, watch your TV or watch Netflix. And it's just, we live sedentary lifestyles. I'm not making excuses because I know we need to be better. But at the same time, recognize that our culture is feeding into all of that challenge. And don't be so hard on yourself that you're having a hard time getting off the couch. Our genes are programmed for laziness. We're supposed to conserve energy. We're literally programmed to conserve energy. That's not an easy thing to battle and to fight off. So now we've added recently with COVID-19, we've added excessive amounts of fear and stress and worry and isolation, which not so shockingly, you're stuck indoors with all the junk food, so you're likely increasing your weight gain. And then you're so stressed out that maybe you're not sleeping, and sleep absolutely has so much to do with your weight gain, weight loss, weight management, I should just say, that we're just in a troubled situation. Our chronic social stress is just one more thing to add to that pile. So please, stop and give yourself credit for handling what you are handling well. But also recognize that if you don't fight back, if you don't buck this culture, this trend, this ridiculousness, that you will go in the same direction as almost everybody else. If you want to regain your control or control of your health, we have to look at 5 really specific things. I'm not going to make these complicated. I am going to make them specific. Food quality, dudes. Food quality. This is a big deal. I will define it a little bit better in a minute. Food quantity. How much are you eating, but also that you are eating. A patient today came in, extra visit, because she's got a lot of pain and headache stuff going on. And I just knew what the deal was. And I said, so are you eating? And she's like, well, sometimes. I was like, how is that an option? I know she's really busy, so I know to go there first. But skipping meals is never a strategy for losing weight. It'll always increase your weight because, again, your body's designed for conservation of energy. You don't put food in, you're not burning anything off. In fact, you're storing more. You're down-regulating your metabolism. So food quantity is not just about having normal, healthy portion sizes, which of course is important, but it's also about having healthy portion sizes, making sure you're actually sitting down and eating meals. Activity levels, please don't think you can just eat healthy and lose weight. You have to burn off calories. We're genetically programmed or designed, and have been this way for tens of thousands of years, to have a high fiber diet and daily activity. High fiber diet and daily activity. We're actually designed for that. That's how we thrive best. That doesn't mean like a bucket of Metamucil, because that stuff's garbage and it just depletes your body of nutrients. But real food has lots of fiber in it, but it also requires you to use those nutrients every day. You've got to burn that fuel. You wouldn't just fill your car with gas every day if you're not driving it. You've got to put fuel in. We also have to talk about our social stresses and peer pressures. I know that you're eating stuff because of where you are and who you're with. Of course that's true. I'm not taking away like grandma's pies, but you can't have grandma's pies every day. We've got to be real smart about these things. And also that if you are on social media, are you walking to the pantry to get junk food right afterwards? How often does that happen for you? Most people are eating calories or eating food very unconsciously. I want you to start getting more conscious about when you're eating and what you're eating so that you can actually identify where the problem may or may not be. And then lastly, the fifth thing we have to take control of is our sleep. I'll be real specific about it in a minute. So, as if we need more proof that Americans are obese. Holy cow. But this is something I need to address really specifically because I know some of you are sitting there going, yeah, but it's in my genes. My genes are bad, my mom's fat, my grandma's fat. I'm not so sure that that's true, actually. However, think about it this way. Top left picture of the United States was 1990. There's not a single state in our country that has an obesity rate higher than 14%. Zero. No state in the United States had people who were obese at the rate of 14% or more. That's 1990. 8 years later, every state had at least 20% obesity, 15 to 20%. Every state did. And then another 8 years later, it's exponentially worse. So there wasn't a single state who was at the 10 to 15% obesity rate just 18 years after 1990. That's a shocking growth in obesity. You want to see it now? There are a large handful of states who have 35% and greater obesity rates. 90% of diabetics are obese. Just put that together. How costly, how exhausting, how frustrating is it to be a diabetic? Poking yourself, checking your sugar, doing the insulin thing, trying to manage that. Insulin as a hormone is a fat storer. So now if you don't have your insulin levels just right, you're actually increasing your fat storage, and you don't want to mess around with that because your insulin levels, if they're too high or too low, can kill you. I mean, this is crazy, but if we can manage our weight better, we can literally prevent ourselves from becoming diabetics. You can actually reverse diabetes by improving your nutrition, so we gotta jump right into that. On Monday, the CDC published, this Monday, like on June 15th, the CDC published that patients with these underlying conditions were 12 times as likely to die of COVID-19. Diabetes, obesity, heart disease, lung conditions, and if you're immunocompromised. 12 times more likely to die. Let's not pretend these are small things, and please don't pretend that you aren't in control of it. So I asked, is it your genes? Or is it that our lifestyle and our environment have gotten so totally out of control? Our genes have not changed. If you look at that 18-year time frame or 16-year time frame I talked about, and then currently from 1990, our genes, it's impossible for them to have changed that quickly. They're not. They just aren't. Geneticists will tell you that in 10,000 years our genes haven't changed. So they definitely haven't changed in a couple of decades. So if it's not your genes, and you can't blame everything on the environment, although plenty of it I know we can because of food additives and pesticides and junk in the air, it's got to be your lifestyle. We've got to look at your lifestyle, and you're going to have to break some bad habits, and you're going to have to add some healthy habits. These are the toxic lifestyle choices. If you're taking notes, please get your pen ready. I want you to write this down. These are your toxic lifestyle choices that are going to have the greatest impact in hamstringing your success. If you want to fail, keep doing this. If you don't want to fail, cut out as many of these as possible. So, excessive sugar consumption. That does require that you know what sugar is. Sugar is everything in the ingredients list that ends in ose. O-S-E. If it ends in ose and it's in that ingredients list, it's sugar. Now you may see 5 different ingredients that are all ose. Maltodextrose, maltose, fructose, sucrose, high fructose corn syrup. All that stuff is junk, and it doesn't just trash your immune system, it trashes your success at having a healthy and normal metabolism. This is hard. Sugar is addictive. They say it's more addictive than cocaine. That's terrifying. As Americans, we've increased our sugar consumption. I think I read it was 100 pounds a year in the last 100 years. So 100 years passes, and now we're each consuming 100 pounds of sugar a year. It might even be 136 pounds. It was something insane. We're consuming sugar by the bucket load. Skipping meals and then binging. I have literally had people tell me, oh no, I so well, but I keep gaining weight. And I'm like, well, what are you eating and when are you eating? And their so well is like 1 or 2 meals a day, but then they're snacking the rest of the day. If you want to gain weight, add grains, and certainly add grains when you shouldn't be eating at all. To the next point, going to bed with a full stomach. If you're eating grains before bed, I guarantee you're gaining weight. Fact, period. You have to. I understand some people's hours are weird. They have to eat dinner later, but honestly, you could have the lightest meal of your day at that time and then have a nice, big, healthy breakfast. I will show you what that looks like. Eating highly processed foods. Okay, if it's in the middle section of the grocery store, it's highly processed. If it can sit on your shelf for more than 3 weeks, it's highly processed. The only exclusion I would put there is like canned fish or canned foods, the good canned foods you can eat. If it's sitting in your cupboard, just in a box, it's not real food. Food is easy. Food is grown. It's easily defined. You can read and pronounce the ingredients in food, and food rots. That's what the definition of food is. So if it's highly processed food, if you're looking at the ingredients list and you're like, well, I don't even know what that stuff means, it means it isn't food. You've got to decrease the quantity of processed foods you're eating and eventually decrease them altogether. Cut back, then cut it out. Eating fast foods, and you'll notice I put foods in this example in quotes. Fast food isn't food. Fast food isn't food, other than Chipotle, other than the sushi counter at the grocery store, other than salads at the grocery store, which to me is fast food. I walk into the grocery store, I can get a nice healthy meal. I can walk into Chipotle, get a nice healthy meal. There are a few others, I'm sure, but most fast food is absolutely not food. So many chiropractors a decade or so ago were putting McDonald's hamburgers and fries on their front desk and just leaving it there and showing their patients that over weeks and months, and one of my friends, 7 years, it never went bad. It just shrank. That's not food. And you know that. If you found a fry under the seat of your car, it still looks like a fry. That's not food. Don't eat it. Using fake flavors, sweeteners, colors, etc. So much of that is back to highly processed foods. But just recognize, like, are you drinking things that have weird colors to them? That's not real food. And in fact, it is an energy thing that's going into your body and messing with your neurotransmitters and messing with your cellular metabolism. Just be aware of it. There's so many alternatives that literally every unhealthy thing that you consume, you can replace with a healthier one that I have found usually tastes better. Just saying. Okay, focusing on eating low fat. I know I'm surprising some of you here. Eating low fat is deadly. Absolutely deadly. You start cutting fat out of your foods, and what you end up cutting out are all the vitamins that are fat soluble that you need to be absorbing. But if something doesn't have any fat and it has a lot of flavor, depending on what the food is, not with vegetables, but most foods, if it has no fat and lots of flavor, it's full of sugar. So read those ingredients. You've got to get these down, and I really would want you to write this list. You guys need to know this stuff. And then drinking soda and other high sugar drinks. If you want to gain weight quickly, do that. You want to lose weight quickly, cut it out. These ones are not hard. All right. This is why we're in the predicament we're in. We have a government that's based on making America financially strong. It is not about making you independently healthy. Please get that. Both of those current food guidelines that are up there are what they're telling us we should be eating. My 8-year-old was looking over my shoulder this morning, and he yelled at the computer screen and said, "But where's the fat slice, Mom?" And I just loved it. This kid is totally like more aware of nutrition and what our body's needs are than what the government's trying to fool us into thinking. Notice how many slices are on that ridiculous triangular pie. It's crazy. Just because you have someone walking up the side doesn't mean it actually implies that people are exercising. But number one, grains is the orange one. Grains is a bigger category than anything else. I would argue you can get by, nope, you can thrive by eating 0 grains. You can thrive by eating 0 grains. Please don't tell me that it's required for my overall health and wellness. It's not. Look how little the greens and vegetables slice is. Not cool. The red one is fruits. Okay, I'm okay with eating some fruits. It's better than tons of fruit. Eat more vegetables than fruits. That fat slice is probably the yellow one, but it doesn't even say fats at the bottom. They're avoiding it. Dairy is just as big as grains. I guess the dairy industry wants to make some money too. Big shocker. They lobbied for this thing. They lobbied to be put into it. The more money they gave the government, the larger slice of the pie, and I'm not joking. And then lastly, we have meat and beans. I totally disrespect this entire food pyramid. It just keeps getting worse as time passes, and it's why I put that horrible but next to it, because that's what it's creating. If you want to fatten cattle, every farmer knows to give them grains. If you want to lean up cattle, do you know what you give them? Healthy fats. Healthy fats. If you give cattle fat, it will lean down because it increases its proper metabolism, healthy fats. That's important for you to know. The same is true for people. And then that last little one at the top that's ridiculous too. It also doesn't include fats up there. And it's saying, oh, be sure to have dairy. You need your glass of milk with your dinner because it's really important you take that horrible other animal paste and coat your entire digestive system so you can't absorb any of the nutrients you just ate. Crazy? I'm sorry, I know some of you are addicted to your milk with dinner. It's a horrible idea. You're not getting the nutrients that you're eating. You need to know that. Here's some rules I'm going to give you. Number one, food is not food. You need to define food better. Food is not food. Just because you're full doesn't mean you got anything nutritious. In fact, I look at that breakfast, which is ridiculous. I hope no one will eat all that. But I look at that breakfast and I see that glass of orange juice and I think to myself, how many oranges does it take to squeeze that whole juice glass? Would you ever sit down and eat 8 oranges? That's why we're in a sugar problem, people. I don't care if it's fruit sugar. It's still sugar. It's still spiking your insulin, and insulin is a fat storer. So your sugar juice turns into fat that you're storing. This is a horrible idea. So we can't just have something for breakfast. We need nutrition. Honestly, why not have a big salad for breakfast? Why not? Or why not hard-boiled eggs, sliced cucumbers, tomatoes, last night's leftovers from dinner. I love doing cold soups for breakfast. Certainly a smoothie. You can pack so much great nutrition in a delicious smoothie. But think about how you're defining food, because just because you can put it in your mouth, chew it, swallow it, and not die immediately doesn't mean it's actually food. Another rule, eat more and at the right time. It's kind of hard to tell what that picture is. It's a campfire, smoldering, about to go out. Not a lot of heat there, not any flame. There's still some ashes waiting to be broken down. It's exactly how your digestive system is in the morning. You just woke up. You have literally been fasting since last night, your last meal. You haven't eaten for, I don't know, 7 to 10, maybe 12 hours for some people. You've been fasting. Your fire is going out. When I said that your nutrient ability or your health is dependent on the strength of your digestion, you have to fuel your digestive system. So in that fire pit, you've got to add some things that are going to start waking it up again. Every breakfast we have in our house has a large amount of healthy fats in it. Those healthy fats are beautiful fuel for a fire. They also have lots of nutrient-dense vegetables. The more colorful, the more powerful. The more colorful, the more powerful. And also, what I mean by more powerful, the more able they are to fight disease, including plenty of cancers. Different colored vegetables actually fight different kind of cancers, which is pretty cool. So eat more at the right time. The sooner you get up, or the sooner you have a meal when you get up in the morning, the better, the bigger, because you're gonna have all day to burn it off. In fact, I also have a rule. If I'm gonna eat chocolate during the day, it's gonna be before noon typically, because I know I've got all day to do something to burn it off. It's also there telling my body, keep the metabolism up. Don't slow down too soon. We've got to burn this off still. So you got to get that fire going first thing. I don't care if you don't want to eat. So many people tell me, I can't. It makes me feel nauseous because you're unhealthy. Because you're unhealthy. Get healthier and then you'll crave breakfast. You'll get healthier by having something really simple. Have a smoothie, a small one. Anything, little bits, have a banana, have a cucumber, have something that's just super easy to digest. I know you can totally do it. Be hard on yourself about these rules. Don't be hard on yourself emotionally when it's hard. It's going to be, but be hard on yourself about these rules. Stop lying to yourself about what you can burn off every day. Oh my gosh. I hear this all the time. People in the gym say this all the time. Oh man, I'm here because I had a Frappuccino, or I'm here so I can have Ben and Jerry's later. Do you know that you have to work your tail off on a spin bike for 30 minutes to burn fewer calories than you'll consume with that Frappuccino? I mean, work your tail off on that spin bike. That's crazy. So 300 calories in 30 minutes on the spin bike, and then you're gonna go to Starbucks and say, oh sure, add the whipped cream and the caramel sauce, and then you know what, let's not make it a grande, let's do a venti, and you know what, let me take one to go. Or let's add that donut that I see in the case. Just be aware of what you're consuming, because you can't burn off huge amounts of sugar that spikes your insulin, that forces the fat storage. You can't burn that off in a short session at the gym. You need to know that. All right, this is one of my favorite things I saw recently. 30% gym, 70% diet. Abs are made in the kitchen. Abs are made in the kitchen. You gotta build them in the gym, but they are made in the kitchen. They're also made at the checkout line at the store. Don't just throw it in the cart. Don't just throw it in the cart. You need to be real mindful about what you are consuming and how much you're relying on the gym and not what you're doing in the kitchen. It just matters too much. Be very cognizant of what you're doing in your kitchen. All right, here's our wellness lifestyle kind of food rules. Absolutely unlimited vegetables. You can eat as many as you want. There's no limit on vegetables. I'm never gonna tell people to be hungry. I can't stand it when people say, oh, I know, I'm starving myself over here and I can't lose any weight. Unlimited vegetables. Abundant meats. I don't need you thinking it needs to be 10% protein or 10% meat. Have all the healthy, lean, natural meats as possible. Not this junky farm corn-fed, whatever pumped up hormone cow stuff you're getting at the grocery store. Be wary of that. You can't eat as much of that as you want, but you can eat almost as much as you want of healthy, grass-fed, preferably organic, but natural meats. Truth is, if you're eating the natural meats, you won't want to eat an excessive amount of them anyway, because you get so much nutrition that your brain says, oh, we got it. Everybody's happy. Vitamin C, D, folate, they're all there. I got it. We can stop eating now. We graze because our brain is telling us we're missing some nutrients. Something's not in there. So then you spend the rest of the evening after dinner looking for something out of the pantry because you're still hungry, but it's not. It's your brain saying, I'm smart and I'm not firing right because I'm missing some really key neurotransmitters. If it's too late for me to have a meal and I'm craving food, or I'm like, oh, I just feel like I need something, I literally take a multivitamin. I'm not starving myself. Trust me, I eat good food. I eat a lot of food. But it's true, I'll take a multivitamin because I'm like, I must have missed out on something today. Think about that. Some fruit, nuts, and seeds. People get in trouble with nuts and seeds. This is kind of funny. They kind of buck against me when I say, like, absolutely, cashews, almonds, macadamia nuts, do it, go, eat them. They're like, oh no, they're full of fat. I'm gonna get fat. My doctor says I shouldn't. It's why my cholesterol is high. Think about it this way. Same with the glass of orange juice. If it was in earlier days, you didn't have a bag of macadamia nuts to eat. You had macadamia nuts. You had to break them open. You might have 5. Think serving size based on what you should have access to, not what you do have access to. It's like the whole supersize me. Just because your bag of fries is like the size of your head doesn't mean that's a serving size. Like, what would be appropriate, besides none, but like what would be appropriate for this actual serving size? So yes, eat nuts. Have a small handful of almonds and or macadamia nuts. I mean, add them in, I don't care, but don't be ridiculous and eat a whole bag because it's just hard for your body to process all of that. I hope that makes sense. All right, of course, guys, don't forget, if you have questions, concerns, thoughts, whatever, and you want us to answer them, don't hesitate to like post comments or text our office. You certainly can do that. We're happy to answer them. Okay, lots of healthy fats. I've talked about fats a handful of times. Healthy fats are plant-based. Healthy fats are plant-based. I'm not gonna say you should be deep frying your stuff in corn oil. That is not a healthy fat. High smoke point or high boil point oils are usually not good for you, but your plant oils, which I'm going to show you pictures of in a minute, are really, really healthy and we need more of them. Limited starch, no sugar. Oh, a shocker. Okay. Yum. Like, seriously, can we not like just expect to sit down in front of our plates and drool? That's normal. I want to sit down and be so excited to eat that I can hardly wait for everyone to get to the table. That's what food should look like, and it needs to be really colorful. This is a beautiful breakfast and honestly takes like 8 minutes to make. Big salad, steak cut up on it, avocado, wonderful healthy fat, a little salsa, herbs in there. Do you know how many vitamins and nutrients are in herbs and how flavorful they make our foods? This year we finally, for the first time, Jackson and I built an herb garden, super fun. And this morning he's like, oh, I'm so making breakfast. He runs outside, cuts a bunch of chives, goes in, starts making scrambled eggs. And he's excited about the eggs because he gets to add this flare of green. Kids love this stuff, but you have to encourage them and play with them and get their hands dirty also. So involve them in their food production. You can easily have like plant pot herb gardens that you don't have to have a yard for. Super easy stuff. My grandmother at her end stages of life, actually for decades, she lived in apartments and she grew like full farm loads of vegetables, herbs, no fruits because it was Canada, but lots of stuff in 5-gallon buckets on her balcony. It's doable to have local fresh stuff and the herbs will cost you next to nothing to have. Fatty chicken thighs. Please don't avoid fat. I put this picture in there to remind you. Be creative with your salads. Don't make them boring. Don't let them get boring. So it's just another different salad, right? Lettuce, apples, there's raisins in there, and there's fatty chicken thighs. When we do any kind of meat in our house, we leave the fat on it. Of course we eat the chicken skin. Of course we eat more chicken thighs than chicken breasts. I want fat because there's a lot of great nutrients in there. Every meal you eat must have fat. If it requires you to drizzle olive oil on top, my favorite place is a Tasteful Olive. Love that place. They've got every flavor of olive oil, so you can put them in your smoothie. I put blood orange in our smoothie every morning. It's just a great way to add fats, but don't shy away from fat. You need that, but you also need the roughage that goes with it. It's very easy to say, oh, I'm eating really clean, and you have, 2/3 of your plate is like meat and fat and like a cucumber on the side. You need the roughage to get all that fat and wonderful nutrition through. Also because you absorb them all together too. More yummy food. Salmon, you know, I'm just as big of a fan of canned salmon as I am store-bought. It just depends on how you want to cook it or prepare it. We do a lot of canned salmon on sometimes like a gluten-free cracker with a little mascarpone. It's amazing. So you get fat on fat with no grains, and it's delicious. So there's lots of ways of eating these things, but you've got to be a little creative and just be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to be new. You know, go online, type in like, how can I eat healthy salmon? Or what's a great salmon recipe? There's so many recipes available. A seafood salad, you know, whatever. We lived in New England for a long time, so we could get really fresh seafood. But here in KC even, you can get a lot of great stuff because it's flown right in. So you can get great quality nutrients from lots of different sources. Don't let your food get boring. All right, I told you I'd come back to sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. I just go to bed, like stop, right? No, sorry, don't leave and go to bed. But you do need sleep, and please don't lie to yourself that you can get away with less sleep. Current research is abundantly clear that every adult that's been researched and studied needs to have between 7 and 9 hours of quality sleep. We've gotta have great quality sleep. Notice how much your kids need. It's not clear. Most parents don't know how much sleep our kids need, and so they're dragging them out of bed too early to go to school programs or daycare or whatever, and then wondering why their kid's metabolism is a wreck. A friend of mine, colleague chiropractor, actually said he had a patient who worked at Mass General. This is an older story, it was about 10 years ago. Working at Mass General, they were building the children's wing, and they were having to create hoists to lift children up to 600 pounds. A 600-pound child is absolutely child abuse. We've got to be better. But how do you even get to be 600 pounds? You got a lot wrong. You're eating a lot wrong. You're not exercising. And I would guarantee those kids are not sleeping properly either. So just notice, if an adult needs 7 to 9 and our teenagers need 8 plus, 10 sometimes, 12 for some of them at some times, because you know 12 years old is different than 13 years old. 13 years old is different than 14 years old. Their bodies are changing so much. Give them time to sleep because it's time when their hormones are getting regulated, and it's what determines their satiety levels. If they're, you know, they're going to wake up hungry or have their appetite suppressed different times of the day. This is hormone driven, and our hormones are balanced during our sleep. That's true for us adults too. Infants, 16 to 18 hours. Why would we need to sleep that much? Think about it for yourself. Why would we need to sleep that much? What's happening while we're sleeping? Everything, right? Brain development, growth, healing, function. We need it. All right, more food. I know you want to talk more about food. I hope you've had dinner. I haven't, I'm starving. Okay, you are what you eat, so don't be fast, cheap, easy, or fake. You are what you eat. Don't be fast, cheap, easy, or fake. Think about it. If I put this in my mouth, is it going to make me a better me or a worse me? One of my favorite chiropractors, Dr. James Chestnut, says, if you're really fighting quitting a bad food addiction like burgers or whatever, you can have a healthy burger, but let's just say it's McDonald's. Get one, strip naked, stand in front of a mirror, and eat it. And you'll piss yourself off so much that you'll probably get over eating your stupid hamburgers. Think about it. You are what you eat. If you're eating it and you want to break the habit, do anything it takes to fight yourself on that. You've got to be better. We deserve better. Okay, these are what we eat and more, so much more. But healthy carbohydrates. People say, oh, Dr. Liisa, you can't live without sugar. You need to have your carbohydrates. You need carbs in order to fuel your brain. Of course you do. Your brain runs on sugar, but not like candy sugar. In fact, your brain gets all hyperactive and crazy on candy sugar. It doesn't work. Healthy carbohydrates are all vegetables, pretty much all fruits, all of them. The more colorful your palette or the more colorful your plate, the healthier you will be. There are very different phytonutrients in every single kind of food. Please don't think they all taste gross just because you've never tried them before. I think there's a delicious way to prepare or create almost every vegetable. In fact, I don't think I've ever met a vegetable I didn't like. It's just, you just got to figure it out. Those are healthy carbs. This is the definition of carbohydrates. A lot of people don't know what Swiss chard is, by the way, that bottom one that's really colorful. I mean, my goodness, that stuff is addictive. It's so delicious. But just saute it in butter. add your delicious healthy butter or olive oil or coconut oil, and you're gonna get a really healthy meal. All right, healthy proteins, let's define it. I'm cool with canned fish, I've told you that. But really, grass-fed meats, vegetables have protein. Do you know broccoli is like 38% protein? You don't have to eat meats if you don't want to, but if you don't eat meats, please make sure you're getting healthy protein in your diet. You need it. All right, eggs, organic, specifically high in omega-3s. You want happy chickens? Happy chickens. You don't need chickens that are stacked on top of each other, miserable, stressed out, making the thing you're gonna eat. Or you don't wanna eat that chicken either, because a stressed out chicken, in my opinion, is increasing the likelihood of stressed out people. If you're eating angry animals, I think you're more likely to be angry. Call me crazy, I think that makes complete sense. Seafood, shellfish, they're all great when it comes to healthy proteins. All right, healthy fats, please pay close attention. You can get fat in dairy, but you don't need to get it from dairy. So just think outside the box. Why not switch up your milk for almond milk, coconut milk? Rice milk is actually quite delicious too. There's so many different milks. You don't have to be drinking cow's milk. And honestly, the new ones these days taste better than cow's milk anyway, and they won't give you digestive upset, nor will they increase your likelihood of allergies or leaky gut syndrome that we know cow's milk contributes to. So fatty fish, nuts and seeds, coconut oil. Oh my gosh, coconut oil in our house is like, we go through, a huge container every 2 weeks probably. We just use tons of coconut oil. In fact, I put it in my dog's food every day. My dogs get lots of coconut oil. I put fish oil in their food, and I give them supplements, because what we put in our bodies determines the cost of our health care too. So I save our household lots of money in vet issues by giving my dogs healthy food. Do you think that translates to my husband and I and our son? You bet it does. I'd pay way more. I'll pay thousands of dollars in food bills before I'd ever want to pay thousands of dollars in hospital or drug bills. If you think that healthcare, being healthy, eating well is expensive, really stop and ask yourself, what is the cost of being sick? It's a full-time job, people. It's a full-time job. I am so sad when I see people limping along, dragging their heavy, weak, hurting bodies. It's awful, but they started by making bad choices. Sometimes they were given these choices by their parents. If your parents taught you bad habits, when would now be a good time to break that cycle? I hate sitting with moms who say, I don't know how to cook. My mom was just not there for me. Then let's do it. Let's learn. Cooking actually isn't hard. You can start real simple. All right, another really fun, easy metabolism supporter that will surprise or upset a good handful of people. I don't care. It's just true. Adding healthy salt to your food is a great way to increase your mineral balance, and it helps balance out your hormones and your metabolism. So I started adding about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of gray Celtic salt to my water. It's delicious. I usually know I need it when it tastes even better than usual. Andrew was kind of teasing me, saying like, who wants to drink salt? And then a couple days ago, he's like, oh, I needed it so bad. It was delicious. And I'm like, there you go. Your innate intelligence will tell you what you need. Don't shy away from salt. It's a great flavor adder, and effective, healthy, real, like mineral salt won't be spiking your sodium levels, because it's not all sodium. It's flavor, which then will help you want or need or use less sugar. Think about it. If you're confused, talk to me about it. So yeah, it increases your energy balance, your brain and immune function. It promotes bone strength, of course, which as a chiropractor means the world to me. I want people with strong, healthy bones. All right, couple last things I'm going to tell you to do. You've got to get adjusted. Please don't think that your digestive system is just automatically healthy once you eat healthy food. I have met people who eat beautifully, wonderful meal planners, and their digestion is trashed because they're subluxated in the digestive system, or they're subluxated somewhere that's messing with their digestive function. That's a really key factor. You've got to understand that. You need to consciously choose what you're putting in your mouth. Please ask, am I eating this because I'm sad? Am I eating this because I'm angry? Am I eating this because I'm bored? Why am I putting this in my mouth? It might not stop you completely, but it'll slow you down a little. And then next time it might stop you. But ask that question. There's another rule I forgot to put in here, but I love this one. Put in fresh fiber first. If you're going to have a bowl of ice cream, because you've been having a bowl of ice cream every day for years, I don't know, whatever, every Sunday's ice cream day, put in fresh fiber first. Have an apple and then your ice cream. Have some, fruit, vegetable, whatever. Eat that first and then still your ice cream. Two things will happen. One, you'll have better nutrients so you can break down that garbage, sugar, dairy, whatever. Two, you'll be more full and you're gonna want less. It's just a really simple way to actually break some of your bad habits, and it forces you to say, oh, heck, I didn't even notice my hand was in the freezer grabbing the ice cream, but I do remember I should have fresh fiber first. So you know what? I'm gonna grab an apple, I'll cut it up, have carrots, cucumber, celery, whatever. I'm gonna have a snack, and then I'm gonna have the ice cream. And if you change your mind about the ice cream, great. If you don't, great, it's up to you. But it's a way to break that habit and start making you more conscious about your food choices. Gosh, I've barely even talked about hydration. I think it's a given. If you're eating enough fruits and vegetables, you're actually fairly well hydrated. But yes, we need water. Water, water, water. Do you know people are hospitalized all the time because of dehydration? What's the cost of that? Water is basically free. Do drink filtered water, preferably. You don't have to buy bottles of water. Be careful about your bottled water being plastic ridden, because you're gonna get plastic in it if you leave it in your hot car or whatever. But just water. Think of your total body weight in pounds. Say what you weigh 200 pounds. Cut that number in half, 100. That's how many ounces of water you should drink a day. More if you're super sweaty, less if you're doing a little less. If you're traveling, you're flying somewhere, double it. We get so dehydrated when we fly. Water, 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 water. Add in nutrition, I didn't mention that, and cut out toxicities. So adding in nutrition, you've got to you're gonna be eating healthier anyway if you're eating more fruits and vegetables, but you've gotta be taking a good whole food organic supplement. You just have to. Nobody's getting all their nutrients from their foods. I know I don't. And in fact, when I don't take my supplements consistently, I notice I have less energy. So even though I eat really well, I still notice there's something missing in my diet. So taking a whole food multivitamin can actually kickstart you towards health and wellness that will, like I said in the beginning, make you crave unhealthy foods less. All right, we're wrapping it up. Here's the deal. I said this earlier. It is absolutely natural for us to be healthy for our entire lifespan, to age slowly and gracefully, to awaken grateful, have more energy than you need, to crave exercise and healthy food, have healthy relationships, and a general feeling of happiness and contentment. If that's natural, what are we doing? I just love this example so much. Through our chiropractic practices over 15 years, we've helped dozens, if not hundreds of people lose lots and lots of pounds. A good handful of them have lost over 100 pounds, not through blood, sweat, and tears, but an easy process. I love this example because this gentleman, whom I don't know, he was not a patient, but I just always love using it. I don't want to make my patients feel vulnerable by throwing them into a workshop, so I'm using him. But he was 70 years old when he decided to start working out for the first time. My point, it's not too late. It's not too late. We can totally do something about it, but we hamstring ourselves when we think maybe tomorrow, or maybe these symptoms will go away on their own. We can't afford to think like that anymore. We've got to start recognizing that the same potential that was in his body that made him into this ripped rock star at 70 is in you too. You know, we all have troubled times. We all get frustrated. We all get tired of COVID and self-quarantine and staying home. Of course you're frustrated. Of course you're mad. But why not kind of fight back against that whole system, that whole process, and say, I'm going to be better than I am right now, next year at this time. If you want to, come into our office. Every time we do a workshop or a talk, we always give the opportunity for you guys to come in and have a proper evaluation, because your nervous system is your master system. It runs it all. But if you don't know if it's healthy, we want you to know if it's healthy. So if you come into our office, we will do the same complete evaluation we do for all of our awesome patients who we help, whether it's with weight loss or just body function improvement. And we'll do postural assessment, range motion assessment, balance assessment, full spine digital x-rays, digital thermography. I mean, we'll do it all. Do a health consult, find out what you want for your life. Short-term goals, immediate goals even, and long-term goals. If you want to do that, we would love to help out. We're going to do that whole thing if you contact us within the next day or two. You can do it for $50. It's normally $350 plus. So I think if you went to a hospital and had all that testing done, it'd probably be about $5,000. In my office, we're efficient enough, we can do it for $350, but we care enough that we'll do it for $50. So take us up on it. We absolutely get so much joy out of helping people be stronger, healthier, leaner, happier, did I say that? Live longer. So we're here for you. We're Doctors Andrew and Liisa Hall. We're at WellSpine KC. If you want to contact us through social, you can. You can just call our office too, though. And we've got our number up for you. So I hope this was helpful. Please give us feedback, and we'll see you soon.